Okay, class, so now we're at the Invincibility case study. Okay, so let's look at this one. This one's on, I said, page 365. Okay, we're going to read the case study and we're going to go from there. Okay, so remember we had 4 basic questions, right? What are they doing right? What are they doing wrong? What should they do and what shouldn't they do? 4 basic questions. Let's mix it up though a little bit. 4 new questions, other ones. Okay, the first, a little permutation on the original 4. The first thing is you read the case study, right? First, do you think they're over-relying on statistical data? You'll be taking courses on statistics, trends, and things like that, but are they relying too much on the statistical data? Think about that. Another one, because this is an HR question, they're very focused in this case study. You're going to see about how they're using the HR department. Are they doing that effectively? If you're a manager, one of your responsibilities is to get the most out of each one of your employees, the most out of one of your departments. Think about that question. Next, here's another, the lawyers of the world, right? Should they be collecting the information that they're collecting? Maybe they shouldn't be. There's some data you don't want to collect. There's some data you shouldn't be collecting. Next, if you assume that they've got the data, what should they be doing with it? Because there's some data in the world that you should not release. Okay? So we've got 4 things I want you to think about as you read this case study. The reliance on the statistical data, the focus on the statistical data, collecting that data, and then what do you do with it when you're done? So give the case a read, stop this video now, okay? And then when we come back, we'll have a discussion about it. And I'll see you soon. Well, welcome back. And here we are. We're going to do the Invincibility case study. So let's look at this. Now, in the case study, right, they talk about all kinds of information that they're collecting so that they can do the best statistical data possible. Okay? They said they had a variety of factors they're bringing in. They look at the age of the people. Let's see, what else did they use? They found marital status was relevant. A whole bunch of data that they were collecting on people. So the first question is, what are the legal implications of collecting that data? Okay, now we learned in the HR chapter, there's certain things you can't ask people. There are certain things you can't use. And we also learned, and when we were doing our planning as learning to be leaders, okay, that there are biases in place that we shouldn't be relying on. So that's an issue. Okay, you'd say that right out front. Why are they collecting this data? What's the value of it? Does it open us up to being biased? And don't ever think the word biased is strictly being with regard to ethnicity. Okay? You can be biased, like I told you during that lecture. You can be biased as to age. You can be biased as to geography, education. There's a variety of biases that could be in place. And since we all decided we wanted our workforce to be diverse, this is almost making it the opposite, very focused. Next one, should we be using statistical data and connecting with an HR decision? For sure, that's why we study it. HR data has its value. Okay? But these folks are really relying on it, almost over-relying on it. Okay? Now maybe you could argue this allows them to know how to minimize their costs. That'd be plus. Okay? Or it allows them to reduce turnover cost, or to select the best person. There are a variety of good uses of statistical data. However, if they're using this data to determine who's going to give us a low cost of health care because they're young and they're unmarried, so they're less likely to be out a lot, that could walk you into a slew of legal problems. Okay? So the reliance on statistical data, it's how much you rely on it. Everything here, as we discuss it, is on a spectrum, right? From very little reliance to a lot. Okay? So where do you think they should be on that spectrum? That's one thing you might think about. You might say, as long as they're not doing this, they're okay. But if they go this far, they're too much. Does the value of their HR department extend beyond hiring and firing? Well, let's look at this. Okay? As I read the case study, okay? They're recruiting. Okay? They're trying to hire the right people. They're planning. They're doing that. But you know what? As we discussed in the HR lecture, the HR department should have a much greater scope a much greater thought process to what's going on. You know, as they collect this information, they should be thinking about their onboarding process, their training processes. They're only focused on planning and hiring, and then they're going to be out the door. That's not good HR management. And if you were a MBA that was brought in, one of the things you might say to the company is, you're really focused on how you're using your HR department, and they've got all these other abilities, but you seem not to be able to understand that they could help you out. So why aren't you doing that? That's a good thing to bring out. What changes would you make in the HR planning process? Okay, well, for myself, I'd sit there and I'd say, HR has to understand that there's a lot more, and I'm sure they do, to just hiring people and selecting them. Okay, so what I would say is I want my HR managers to start being managers, to tell me what it is I can collect, what I can't collect, what are the implications if I get something, what are the implications if I don't get something. Okay? I want them to be a lot more in the fabric of my company than just being a group of statisticians that say, hire client or person number A. Don't hire B. Okay? So there's many things that I want you to look at here, many things I would suggest you could. I haven't hit all of them, but I hope you're starting to see the interplay. No answer is wrong, okay? But what it is how you analyze the problem and how do you back it up, okay? So as you look at your answers, which might differ from mine, that would make them no less correct. What facts are you pointing to? So if you, in order to back them up, okay? So now we're going to go on to our next case study, which goes with our next chapter, which would be the case study with chapter 11. And I'll see you soon.